That's fair.
Massage your gums.
Anyway, I don't mind if y'all play on your phone for this. It's a long recap of what happened. Last time on Death and Dragons, Gryan delivered a short report to Delanara, and was then told that her next task for you would probably be in about 2 to 3 months, and so that you should all go and finish your business before possibly dying to many dragons. Gryan and Selphit teleported back to Hupator Bekir and delivered the news. Rin had, during his stay, taken a liking to Klexic's hometown and its people, and thus decided he wanted to live there with Meowie. He applied for a meeting with the Azure Senate, and looked around in the nearby forest for a while before being called to the court along with everyone else. However many elders there were, they've been redacted now to 5. There are Sapphire, Emerald, Crystal, Amethyst, and Topaz. These 5 Dragonborn elders judged Rin at a podium while everyone else watched from the stands. They asked Rin some questions, then deferred to witnesses to call upon Rin's character so that they could judge if he could be trusted to live in Gem Society. Thanks to Klexic already being a citizen, and all of you being heroes of the Desert Bane line, renamed to avoid confusion with the actual Desert Bane Pass, Rin was accepted. Then switched places with Meowie, who undertook the same process and was successful. At the last minute, Gryan decided he would quite like to have a summer home in Hupator Bekir, so the elders allowed him to also apply. And thanks to his natural and perhaps unnatural charisma, Gryan was also approved. After being determined as good and trustworthy people, you all decided to go and get some revenge on a Warforged castle that foiled your efforts months ago. After teleporting to Onor, the group approached Known Keep, a freestanding castle maintained by Warforged to attack anything that came into range. The city of Onor expanded around this no man's land and largely ignored the keep, but temptations of knowledge and treasure brought people to try to see what the Warforged were protecting. And it was this that drove Gryan to sweep the battlements with a tsunami, to gather all of the defenders in one place, and then crush them and the front wall with a swarm of meteors. This gathered a crowd of onlookers that wanted to watch as the party descended the hill they stood upon and marched into the broken keep. You met some light resistance from surviving Warforged, and then continued inside. Within you found a large storage room, holding an equal amount of offline Warforged to the number on the surface, as well as a strange arcane contraption. Stealth was not attempted in the slightest, and so the alarm was immediately raised, and the Warforged became online. And for the next minute, you crushed all of the spare robots. You found a strange portal that the Warforged were guarding. You found a vast room filled with massive gems and natural treasures. It also became clear that the arcane machine was creating Warforged from nothing and had to be stopped. The party attacked the unknown devices surrounding the machine with their weapons and magic, damaging the machinery enough for it to initiate some sort of failsafe. Instead of creating more Warforged defenders, it began to generate an endless pile of grains, which Gaius identified as gunpowder. Knowing it could probably detonate whenever the machine wanted to, some of you scooped up what gems you could before they inexplicably vanished, and then you teleported out to the surface. The group returned to the hill they started on, and stayed to watch with curiosity to see what the facility would do. Thanks to your initial assault, and also the constant siren emanating from the keep, the surrounding neighborhood also came to watch, and after about 10 minutes, the massive pit underneath the machine filled up with gunpowder, and eventually overflowed towards one of the lit braziers before igniting. First, a shockwave pulsed through the ground, felt by everything for miles. A second later, the keep and the earth underneath it erupted in a titanic explosion. The blast wave bowled everyone over and temporarily deafened people, shattered glass within a mile. And immediately following that, the pieces of earth rubble and other bits of metal from the keep were thrown up and outwards in every direction, which came crashing down. The city screamed as stone blocks the size of people crashed into houses, and debris of many kinds fell onto the bystanders. Some of the party was struck from the shrapnel, but nothing serious for hardened adventurers like yourselves. The commoners, on the other hand, died by the hundreds. For about a minute, waves of debris fell on Onor in about a 3-mile radius around the blast zone. The outer reaches were less affected, but the immediate area quickly became filled with crushed corpses and dying survivors. This drove some of you to attempt to save some, while the others watched with vacant expressions. A few dozen were saved, thanks to Ren and Gaius, but there were many that died before you could reach them. In this aftermath, people continued to scream and wail within the streets, as everything became covered in a fine layer of dust and dirt from the cloud that formed from the debris. After several minutes of discussion, a military presence appeared and began to help the people, as well as ask some questions. It was at this point that Wildcard suggested it was time to leave, so you teleported to Daedalus. Once there, Rin checked the gems he had looted and found they were insanely valuable. He cashed them in and split the money amongst the party, except for Wildcard, who supposedly had their own stash. And on that extremely sour note, the party decided to go their separate ways until called upon by Delanara to pursue the Cult of the Dragon. Cadenza gave some of their share to Wildcard to be taken to the City of Spice to be used in a relief mission for the people of Onor, and perhaps fix relations between her city and Hupator Bekir. She then left through the Daedalus portal to stay in the Direlands for a while. Wildcard announced that they would be retiring thanks to their newfound wealth, and would go off and figure out what it is that retired Warforged do. Gran and Gaius would return to the Wraithmarsh Manor to settle their business. Klexicarin and Meowie would be teleporting home to Hupator Bekir to begin building their new homes. And I believe while some of you